Okay, so I'm in Huddersfield, and I came a couple of weeks ago basically to look at the modernist buildings, but I ended up getting distracted by the amount of Victorian mills that are still here, still being used, or just sat derelict. So I've come back to do the modernist buildings, which is what I'm interested in, but I've been distracted again by this Victorian end that I've never been to. So I'm gonna have a look at that, because it seems to be the same fate as the modernist buildings, in that some of it's been still in use, some of it's been repurposed, a lot of it's just left empty or derelict. So let's have a look. You can see this just, I didn't know where to start. I've literally stood here for like 20 minutes trying to figure out where to start, near the Huddersfield Open Market. I'll go show you that building in a minute. But this place is just surrounded by these kind of buildings. And it's difficult to know what's still in use. Just showing you windows there, there's no point of that, is there? What's still in use and what isn't? I mean, that's covered in mesh, I'm guessing for protection, but is it still in use? There's a light on over there, I suppose. But look at that, I can't do justice to the abundance and size of these buildings. Oh yeah, look at this. So where do these steps go? What's that about? It's obviously been bricked up at some point. That was Crown House, that was what I originally came to look at. Those kind of buildings. But it needs... Huddersfield's somewhere I thought I knew quite well, but I must have wandered around with my eyes closed. And what I'm trying to do with these videos is find beauty that still exists in places that are generally struggling. So I don't know if that's modern or not. So this is the Open Market, and this was built in the late 1880s. And you can see it's largely the same. But again, it's all part of this quarter, and we'll walk up to the train station in a minute, because that seems to be the main focal point. But if you look down that street, you can see the types of buildings. When you go into the city centre, it's more modern and less attractive, quite frankly. But so then you, again, these sort of buildings, I can just point the camera and not look what I'm pointing at and capture something that's worth capturing. There you go, does that say 1869? 869, so that's the one. There you go, Huddersfield Open Market. How was that lost the one? Anyway, the marble works. Yeah, it is 1869. Oh, so that's 1863. Look again, look down this street. Nice one. What's your name? Nice one. So this is the Empire Cinema. It isn't, obviously, like all of these cinemas. It's not anymore. And then this is leading up to the, well, back into the main part of the town, but leading up to the station. It's just, I mean, it's good. I always say this, it's good to see these buildings being used, but so much of them must not be being used, particularly the floors. So there's that, and that tatty old clock, but it's telling the time, it is the right time. So and here's the Lion Arcade. I'm finding it for me. Lion Arcade. Oh, why is it called the Lion Arcade? Oh, is it anything to do with that great big bleeding lion? It's cool. 18 something, 53. There you go, 1853. And again, fortunately, a lot of it has found a second life in little shops, but yeah, the upper floors clearly aren't being used. He says they obviously are. So let's take in the station and the surrounding buildings. I mean, seriously, look at these. I'll say again, we're in Huddersfield. Huddersfield, on the surface, certainly in the precinct, doesn't promise this much at all. Or, like I say, maybe it does, and I wander around my eyes shut. So there's the station, built in 1850. And, well, there's a lot of work going on because I think they're building a footbridge and modernising the actual platforms, but clearly leaving this part, as you would, alone. So there you go. And it's, yeah, so just look down that street. In fact, let's go and have a look. So I'm going to get myself a t-shirt printed saying look at the size of that chimney, because that's all I ever say, but look at the size of that chimney. On the buildings, I mean, how many fireplaces were them powering? That's just incredible. And again, it's a building that is mostly empty. Station Street buildings. These with the sort of decoration on each side. On each corner, I mean. And then just like, you know, the more ordinary Victorian buildings. It's just amazing. There you go. So someone's just been chatting to me, and I wish I'd caught it on film, because he had an accent, I'm not sure where from, but he was saying that England's kind of forgotten how rich it used to be. I mean, he actually said Americans speak English, not English speak American. And he said, you know, he travels around the country, and lots of places are like this. You can't tell where you are because they've been bricked up or changed, which is kind of why I'm doing this. It's kind of the point of this whole thing, to reflect some of what I hope we're going to keep, but some of what I suspect we'll lose or will change. And I get that some buildings need to be refurbished, I totally get that, but if we can save a lot of this, all the better. Let's catch this. This is the Head of Steam bar. Didn't want to film it because people are having a drink, I don't want to disturb people, but you can see again the sort of mill buildings that emerge behind. And then look at these. Now, I only know about this because it was in, funnily enough, an article in Private Eye last week. And these are the estate buildings in a Gothic style. And they were government buildings, and they were due to be converted, I think, into apartments. But as is often the case, the contract's fallen through, so they're looking for someone else to pick it up. In the meantime, sat empty and prone to dereliction. But look at the state of this. There are some shops around the corner you can see, but this bit, this back bit, which obviously was opposite, you can see some scaffolding there through the window, lions on the parapet, but just generally not being used at all. Let's try and capture this. I hope that window's open because someone's using that room, not because it's just been forgotten. So look at the, like I say, Gothic style, look at this decoration. All around the windows. And if Dracula jumped out of that window and took a big chunk out of my neck, I wouldn't be surprised. Well, I would be surprised, obviously, but you know what I mean? It has that kind of feel about it. And then back over here to the sort of the Victorian stuff. So this is the other side of that building with the giant chimneys. Sweeney Todd hairdressers next to the Jules Verne pub. Don't mess about in Huddersfield. Westgate House. This is the Byron Hotel. I'm just going to capture this. Porter Hill Tea Company. Not because it's got anything to do with what we're doing, but because we do really, really good teas. This is the Byram Arcade. So it's the type of place that I originally wanted to film, these kind of 1960s, 1970s buildings. And even though I like them, at what point in architectural history did we think showing the staircases was a good idea, an aesthetic idea? Some sort of housing project. Look at this, with the pillars. I mean, I hope this has always been a bank. It deserves to have always been a bank. But look how it's decorated. So I absolutely love this building in its blocky ugliness. I've got no idea what it is or was. I don't know if it's still in use. I mean, these brown windows tell you nothing, do they? But that is, it's just fantastic. Certainly was a bank. Look at this bleeder next to it, the Halifax. Equally as odd. Might have to invest in a drone to get some wider shots of things like this. Right, so yeah, this was built in 1970, 68 to 70, as I thought. So it is the kind of thing that I was looking for. I've just noticed that massive crack in that window. So it's stood empty now. Okay, so right, as I was saying, 1970s, this one must be the same kind of period. Right, so I could see this from behind the station, but I couldn't figure out what it is. But these two buildings look really interesting and look like they're being converted and restored. Restored and in use. So let's go see if we can have a closer look. So obviously that's the back of the station. Nothing particularly interesting there, is there, I don't suppose? But what's that building over there? I need to go and see. So look at this. So this is nice and obviously in use. Fresh Futures. But look at this building. What the hell is this? This is awesome. Is it a council building? Create a memorable space. I don't think I can get down. Well, I can't get over that wall, but so this is the other side of that. I can't work out how to get in other than that front door, and it's obviously closed. So I can't work out whether it's open or not. And all I'm showing you here is trees. What if that were an old school building or something? Oh, here we go. So, smashed windows. So maybe it is derelict. That's a shame, isn't it? Look at that. Can we see in through any of them windows? Jesus, it's massive. I thought we were like alongside the ground. That is huge. Can I get down to it? So how are people working on it? They must be coming via the station. Right, I'm going to have a walk down here and see if I can work out how to get in. So I was thinking it was a mill, because that's just what I think. But now I'm wondering if it's like an engine shed or a railway building, especially with this tower, similar style but separate to it. And obviously you can only get to it via the railway ground. I mean, I said early on that I know Huddersfield really well, but I know a part of Huddersfield really well, as in the precinct. I mean, look, what's this? I had no idea any of this existed. There's the Irish Centre. I nearly went flying down these stairs. Bloody hell. Pennine radio. Okay. So. It is, isn't it? Some kind of railway building. Let's see if I can be cheeky and I'll see if I can come in and have a look. Guessing I know the answer. So here we are, moving more towards the more concrete end of Huddersfield. And that's, you know, a 1970s building. That's, some of it's in use, some of it's not. And then you've got these with the concrete decorations on the side. And there's Imperial Arcade, which will go down. Because there's a lot of interesting shops, but there's an Italian restaurant here that's been closed easily 10 years. We've tried to get in a few times, we've just not got anywhere near. It's just been empty for ages, which is a shame because it was a nice restaurant. Piano bar, there's nobody playing piano now. Yeah. There you go again. Let's show everybody our staircase. It might be a light thing. It probably is, but it just seems really odd. But I like it. This is the Imperial Arcade. Again, nothing to do with what I'm doing, but this is Diversions, which is a right shop. And it's linked to all kinds of events in Huddersfield, like Comic Cons and you know, TV and sci-fi events. And it sells some pretty cool stuff. There you go, Diversions. So this is Albert Yard. It's kind of the back of the precinct. And I'd read that in the paper that this was being, or had been sold to developers, but around the front it says it's still to let. And that, anyway, when they went in, there was a load of, it used to be a factory of some sort, and all like original fittings and machineries were still in there. Machinery was still in there. So I'd love the opportunity to get in, and we always try the door when we come, but round the front, I mean, this was months ago when I read this, and as usual with these kind of developments, they always just seem to take forever. But the front won't give anything away. It's been a shop for ages. But yeah, it doesn't look like there's anything happening. These sort of end shops are quite interesting. It's obviously past its best, but it has been. And then this, prudential assurance. It hasn't been that forever. It's been empty recently, so it's good to see it being used again. I wonder if she's got anything to say. And then we're back, which the bit I do know, which is like I say, the concrete bit, which I think is really special, but I know it's not. We'll get a kind of an update on where they are in terms of the development. I mean, this is the thing, Huddersfield's spending a lot of money on itself, and it's great to see, and it'll make a difference. You can see it seems to be well thought out, but like with the estate buildings, you know, contractors go out of business, lose money, change the plan, so the council's left hanging in a lot of situations. But this seems to be progressing really well. Back at the Plaza Centre. I have to get this in now, it's quiet, because it's just ace. It's magnificent, it really is. I didn't capture this earlier, but this was the entrance from the university end up to the town, and you can see it better from a car, but there you go. So there it is. So they kept that, and that's again, I think, really a tasteful decision. And obviously this was all, well, whatever it was. So it used to be a multi-storey, and then the market house, indoor market. Yeah, that's what I wanted to show you, that kind of opening and the decor. Right, I'm going to walk up here because I want to try and get the police station and the calls in again, but really it's just a cheap excuse to film this another time. Oh, that little entrance is the main entrance of the building. I'll never know. There you go. So that was built 1968 to 70. So it's not as handsome as the one that they've just knocked down in Blackpool, in my opinion. But it's a similar style, similar period, so I'm capturing it. And just as that one, it's built to a similar design, because, but not by Roger Booth. I did look it up, but it has the Magistrates Court and all the court buildings linked to it. So there you go. Might as well go up the stairs. Windows that show the stairs. It's late, so everyone, the court should be shut, so it's okay to film, I'm sure. But this whole complex, which again I've read they're considering moving out of, so it'll be interesting to see. I think the one in Blackpool was empty for about 10 years and they've only just knocked it down. Whether this one having a more central, well, I'm saying that central, the one in Blackpool was on the seafront pretty much. Again, after all the sort of Victorian stuff we've seen, the interesting buildings we've seen, I do think this has a beauty of its own. Right, so I was about to sign off. I want to show you this. A famous organ builder from the 1800s. Built lots of organs, sold lots of organs in churches, etc. I'm enjoying saying organs too much. But really, this is what I want to show you. Because what are these? They're just in the car park and there's nothing to tell you what they are. I've looked around and I've been online, I've tried the library. You know, the chimneys that were once attached to something, has all this been raised up, and they were kilns or whatever. But seriously, what do you search? You know, cylindrical buildings near car park in Huddersfield. When I've tried that, I've actually tried that. But what are they? And why isn't there anything telling you what they are? I suppose if I knew more about that period of architecture or Huddersfield, I could work it out. I mean, they look like chimneys, but again, they're not attached to anything. Anyway, that's Huddersfield for today. I'm gonna come back because there was a load of stuff that I wanted to show you that I haven't seen. But there you go, that's for today.